So what, in addition to this W-7, you have to submit authenticating documents to the IRS, and that means original or certified original documents. So what does that mean? That means a passport. So a passport that, so a passport proves your identity and also your foreign status. So the IRS says you have to prove that you exist and that you are not a US citizen or a US person. So the passport demonstrates that, but it has to be current and it has to be valid. And the good news is, I know in Nevada, we have had good success with our individuals getting current passports from the consulate, and they often are able to get them on a same-day basis. They make an appointment or they go in and they usually can get them if they have their birth certificate and other documents that their consulate requires. And I usually ask people how much it costs, just because I want to be able to explain it to people like you. And it does seem like it has been less than $200. So again, I'm sure every consulate is different and it might depend what kind of the length of the passport, but they have been less than $200 is my experience in Nevada. Now, if it's a dependent, then any dependent from a country other than Canada, Mexico, or of some military member that is overseas. So I've been working with a dependent from El Salvador, that their passport has to have a date of entry into the United States in order for it to be a standalone document. Often we don't have that, so it can be frustrating trying to demonstrate that dependents are trying to prove up a dependent's identity and foreign status. So for a taxpayer, the passport works for both. For a dependent from a country other than Canada or Mexico, you are going to need another document unless it has an entry date. So if it is a dependent that doesn't have an entry date, then you have to demonstrate they're here. So medical records, original medical records from a doctor, and that it's got to be dated, it's got to be current, it's got to show the child's name that ties to all the other documents. And then I have also used school records. So an official record from the child's school, obviously that's going to be someone who's in high school or younger, with their name, with their, I've worked with families to get their transcripts from the school, and we've submitted those to for ITINs. A dependent who's older than 18 and not in school, you can try and use bank statements or rental agreements or utility bills. What you're trying to do is you're trying to prove that they're here with a US address. Again, this gets more complicated and likely not going to be as clean of an application. So what are all the other documents if you have somebody who does not have a passport? Well, the good news is more and more states like Nevada are providing driver's licenses. And so if you have a US driver's license, then that can demonstrate your identity. A foreign driver's license, a state ID card. So if somebody doesn't drive, maybe a senior citizen doesn't have a driver's license, they can get, I know in Nevada, they can get a state ID number. If they have a military ID or some other picture ID that that can prove they identify them. Then for foreign status, we can look to citizenship and U.S. citizenship and immigration IDs, visas, national ID cards, uh, birth certificates. I typically work with a lot of birth certificates. If that birth certificate has been issued from a foreign country, then that's going to prove that they're foreign status. It can also identify them, but you need, again, 2 documents. One of the problems is if it's not translated, sometimes it does get kicked back. I have actually had fairly good luck with submitting authenticated foreign birth certificates, but you want to make sure that the names tie very clearly. So as you can see, without the passport, it gets more complicated to try to prove up somebody's identity and foreign existence.